atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
This town needs an enema.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat?
When Gotham is ashes, you have my permission to die.
This is your liberation.
My mother warned me about getting into cars with strange men.
This isn't a car.
20 years in Gotham. How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way? He has the power to wipe out the entire human race.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector. A dark knight. I'm Batman.
Let the games begin.
Welcome to the Batman on Film podcast. Here are your hosts, Bill Jett Ramey and Rick Shue.
Hey now, thanks for listening to the Batman on Film podcast. BOF is the sponsor and also a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network. Check us out at batmanpodcastnetwork.com. Also, if you'd like to advertise on the Batman on Film podcast, go to advertisecast.com/the Batman on Film podcast. I am your host and the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Jett Ramey. With me today for Volume 2, Episode 52 of the BOF podcast is my co-host Rick Shue, and of course the BOF Roundtablers, Justin Kowalski and Ryan Haas. All right, boys, how you doing? I know how Rick's doing because I already had a conversation with him before we got on the air. Rick, Hungover
What?
Rick is back. Hungover Rick is
What?
back. It always makes for a great
What do you
podcast. How are you doing, sir?
I just got in. I'm role playing, Bill. I got into character. I wanted to feel like Ben Affleck's Batman.
Okay. All right. All right. So you can go ahead and just tell everybody why you were in the disposition you were in this morning.
Christmas party of our friends 2 doors down, and this guy's. I mean, first of all, they're just an amazing couple. They're just wonderful people. But he is also with Republic Distributing, which is a company that distributes wine, liquor, beer, etc. And he's like their upper echelon wine guy, and so you can just imagine the goodies at his place. I mean, it's good juice, man. Good you go over there and he always has like a bartender sit. You go whiskey on the rocks. You're thinking maybe a Jack Daniel's or Makers, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but they're pouring like Woodford Reserve. You're going, oh, this is amazing. Anyway, long story short, my wife and our kids are at my in-laws, and we tow it up. Marty will get mad because I'm talking about this on the air, but she was passed out on the couch. I had to put like a trash can next to her. I couldn't get her to bed. I haven't seen her like this in probably 3 years.
All right. So
that laugh says it all.
Well, I tried to text you this morning. What was the deal?
That's a good. You know what, Bill? I would have loved to have responded to that. I have no idea where my phone is.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's not. This isn't like drunken stupor where it's just lost. I just don't know where. It's either in this house somewhere, or it's 2 doors down, or it's on the sidewalk between here and there. I'll find it. And then I got my wife's phone to call it, but she changed her frickin' password to get into her phone. We have those. If everyone's smart, we have this on our phone where your phone's locked. And I didn't want to wake her up. I didn't have the heart to wake her up to ask her.
Well, at least you have an excuse. I lost my phone when I was going up to Dallas to meet you. From the point I got out of the car where my wife dropped me off at the airport, and by the time less than 30 seconds when I walked into the airport, I couldn't find my phone. So,
Bill, I didn't have a problem sitting around with my thumb up my butt watching you get a new phone for an hour.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was fun.
It was great times.
We did. Amazing. We went straight from the airport to a Verizon store in Arlington, Texas to get a new phone. Anyway.
If it's not already brutal enough to be in those places as an actual customer, yes. Imagine just being there as like a friend of a customer.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
But let's get to a really more important thing. And
all right.
If you don't mind, I can't wait to hear about.
Well, I haven't introduced the other.
No, I know that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Too.
Go ahead. Go. All right, go ahead. You just go. Go. Take over. Take over for a bit.
Weekend, man.
Wait, what was that?
Hi, Justin.
Hey, how's it going?
Man, I can't wait to hear about this precious little boy, dude.
Oh man. Okay, so if Rick is feeling like Ben Affleck Batman, then I'm Adam West Batman.
Ooh.
Feeling good. I had some apple juice, and I'm ready to go. Had some milk. Okay, so so to kind of keep you guys up to date on Danny, who we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and we were raising money for. We actually were able to go over the goal, and we raised about $1,200. And on Friday, we gave out all the gifts to the kids, and man, it was awesome. Every kid in there got their pick of like an awesome toy, man. Like it was, imagine being a kid and like, hey, you're getting a present today, and you get to pick what it is, and you get to hang out with Batman. And there was a Disney princess there too, from Frozen, and I don't know. I think she's Elsa. Not my world, but she was there too. But the most important thing there, Batman was there to hang out with Danny, and we gave out some presents. And man, it was powerful, dude, because these kids, dude, like they're there being treated like in the center. It was a special like oncology ward, and a couple of the kids, they wanted me to go with them as they got treated, and it was really, really hard because they're in pain. Mm-hmm. But they're like, Batman, will you come with me? And I'm like, yeah, and so I'm in there with them, and I put some photos up. There's a photo where I actually have to have a medical mask around the mask, the Batman mask. That, yeah. And
that was amazing, dude.
Yeah. Oh man,
that's talk about tugging at the heartstrings, man.
Yeah. So we're gonna upload most of the photos to the site. So if anyone contributed, they'll get a notification. But if you go to the GoFundMe page / Danny's Christmas Drive, you'll still be able to see some photos from the event and stuff there. Hopefully they go up today. I'm waiting for them to put all that stuff up.
I think this deserves a feature story on Batman on Film proper, Justin.
Oh man,
let's do that. So we'll talk about that later. Okay.
All right.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Art. Yeah. Awesome. All right, Rick. Go ahead. Come on. Introduce Ryan.
Oh, I didn't mean to like inadvertently take over anything. I just couldn't wait to hear about.
I'm serious. Go ahead.
Let's have Rick do it.
Hey, without further ado, Mr. Ryan Hoss. Ryan, how you doing today, buddy?
Hello. I'm tired, and I got snow outside, and I stayed up. I was up until 4 a.m. last night. I was cleaning the house, and I was making apple chips for people for Christmas, and I got the PlayStation VR a few months ago, and I was playing that Star Wars VR stuff, and time just kind of got away from me. So I guess I'm like one of the Batmans, maybe the Christian Bale one.
Yeah. Yes. Oh,
yeah,
speaking of
bats are nocturnal.
That's true. There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Speaking of PlayStation, Ryan, I got to ask you. I'm stuck again on that damn Arkham Knight.
Oh.
And I may have to ask you for some advice. I got you know that part where you got to take out the Arkham Knight tank that has you beat those 6 Cobra tanks, and then there's that big tank that Arkham Knight in that has I don't know, it's something with where Poison Ivy was after you've done that and all that. That section I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I can't beat that damn that big Arkham Knight tank. So whatever. Anyway, I'm not gonna quit on it and let it last for a year like I did last time. So anyway, whatever. Yeah. All this talk here. So this is going to be one of our end of the year Batman in 2016 podcasts. We're going to talk about some of the top Batman moments of the year, and it could be good stuff, could be bad things, and we're going to get to that. That's going to be the second part of the show. First, we're going to talk about the news that dropped. I guess Friday evening, that Warner Brothers has. It's not really that. This was through Hollywood Reporter, and so it's not necessarily Warner Brothers making an announcement, but it's if they're reporting on it, it's probably the information was given to them by the studio. But essentially, the story was framed around Zack Snyder's next project, quote unquote, and then it talks about that Justice League 2 has been pushed back, again, quote unquote, pushed back to make room for Ben Affleck's solo Batman film, which brings up another question. If Justice League 2 was going to be released in June of 2019, does that mean the Batman is going to be a 2019 release instead of, we all assumed on the last podcast, and I still think it's the case that the Batman was going to be released in July of 2018, taking Aquaman's original slot. So we'll get to that, but Rick, you and I talked about it briefly yesterday morning when you called me when you were not hungover. And what was your thoughts?
Which is most of the time, by the way.
Yes. And I think
make sure we're clear on that.
Yeah,
I literally am coming across as some like pill popping junkie alcoholic on these podcasts.
Small window of lucidity.
And so, anyway, we were
back surgery's over.
we were kind of on the same page as far as our reaction. And you posted on Facebook, pushback equals not probably going to happen, or something along those lines. So, Go ahead. What's your take?
Well, my take is this. Nothing changes anything that I have personally stated and predicted. Mm-hmm. I think this just reinforces what I have, and quite frankly, what we've all said, is that Zack Snyder is out. He's out. He's out after Justice League. And quite frankly, I've said all along, and most of us have agreed or expanded on it even, that I think in this case, he's in a lot of ways director by name only. He's there. He's certainly probably framing a lot of beautiful shots, but I don't think he's pulling the strings. I don't think he's calling the shots on this, on Justice League. I really just don't. And by the way, the little vignette that we've seen, the sizzle reel, whatever they're referring to it as, it doesn't even to me feel like Zack Snyder on any level. It just doesn't. It does nothing about it. It feels very, look at this new Justice League. We're happy. It's going to have some comic relief.
The one from Comic-Con?
Yeah, the only thing that's been released. And so,
you thought you had that end of filming video he put out.
Yeah.
So but you're talking about the Comic-Con reel, right? Yes.
Talking about the Comic-Con reel, right.
Okay, yeah.
And I just, and look, I could be dead wrong on this. It may very well be more Zack Snyder than I'm saying, and it's not. I don't think it is, and we're certainly everything that we're seeing and reading about doesn't indicate that it is either. So I look at this and it just reinforces that here's his next move, which means this is what he's up to next. I am of one of those people that I'm not convinced that Justice League 2 is ever going to see the light of day, because quite frankly, and this is unfortunate, and I would love to be wrong about this. Believe me, I would love to be wrong, and I might be wrong, but I don't think Justice League is going to work. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I don't think it's going to work.
Well, Justin,
so I can refer back to this quote.
Yeah, Justin, do you think that this was a nice way to bid Snyder goodbye from the DCEU by framing the story around his next project?
Oh man, yeah, I didn't see it like that. I just saw it as, in my head, I don't see him coming back. Mm-hmm. But I've said before,
they didn't have to go and make the story about his next project. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the,
yeah. No, I didn't see it like that, but yeah, to see it as a, hey, here's something he might work on. I look at it this way. Man, I hope Justice League works, and I hope that he can be, celebrated. You know, he got beat up on this. Mm-hmm. For him to come back, that would be, wow, man. Like, I would see Warner Brothers as like the nicest studio ever. They'd be like, you know what? Come on back. But I really don't want him to leave. I would love for him to maybe tackle a smaller scale, like, DC film. Like I said, man, maybe give him a Suicide Squad, or, you know, maybe they give him a Deathstroke film. I don't know. Just a character that's not going to like make or break the franchise, you know, and see if he can do something cool. But yeah,
Justin, let's say that Justice League works. Let's say that critics at least are, I don't know, you know, they at least like it. It's not, and let's say it does 800 million. Mm-hmm. Let's say it does let's say it does $1 billion.
Let's live in a good world.
Yeah, let's say he does it does $1 billion. Does Zack Snyder come back?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think the best move for business is to, you know, count your blessings. Like, man, okay, that worked good. Let's bring somebody else in, see who else can pitch something. I don't want to go into speculation on directors or anything, but it's so hard to speculate. And here's the thing, I'm trying to stay positive on it because I really want Justice League to work. I want it to be something that everyone can watch and go, man, that was awesome. I'm glad that they made that and the story was good, and critically and publicly and fans and everyone can all agree. I just don't want any more contention around DC films. That's all. But as far as what, I hope that Snyder, I hope that this other movie, what is it, The Photograph, is it called? I hope that's cool. I hope that's a good, artistically for him, maybe he needs a cleanser. And maybe after he does that, he comes back and does something else, for Warner Brothers DC, that you're like, oh man, that's good. Because maybe he's just been so big budget, burned out that sometimes you got to scale back. Sometimes you got to get off the computer and paint. And so hopefully this is a palate cleanser for him, and maybe he can come back and bring something new to the table. I'm hoping on this Justice League stuff. I know that we joke and we say it's, what was it? Snyfleck or whatever we're calling it.
Zach Affleck.
Zach Affleck or whatever. Yeah. I like Snyfleck, but or whatever. Yeah, sounds like a Star Wars guy. Maybe he learned. Hopefully he learned and he had some good people around him. But yeah. I don't know. I think it's rad that Warner Brothers is gonna say, hey, he's got something good coming up, and that's good promo, and or maybe it's like, hey man, we're publicly pushing you out of this. I don't know. But
Ryan, what's your take on all this stuff here?
I agree with Justin. I think Snyder needed a break, regardless of whether his past 3 films were regarded well or not. Even if they were great and critically acclaimed, I still think it's probably a good thing creatively to do something else, first. Yeah. But just this article, I was just super confused by this article because I just read it and I thought this is probably the least graceful way of telling us that Snyder's done with the DCEU for a while at best. For a while now they've told us that, Justice League is 1 film and not 2 anymore and things like that. And the article has to be like, oh yeah, let's bring up Justice League 2 again. And I'm like, well, we've already kind of put that to rest for a while and they have to bring it up just to kind of remind us that it was going to be a thing.
They kind of made a big deal when they had that set visit back last June. They made a big deal it never was going to be a 2-part film.
Yeah, that was the plan all along.
Nonsense, yeah.
Well, and they're doing that now even with this. It's like, Snyder's going to come back and do Justice League 2. He's just taking a break and he's making room for Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yeah. And making room for Ben Affleck's Batman, which nobody still kind of officially talked about starting shooting or anything. So it's all those 3 things. It's like the weird announcements for the Ben Affleck movie, and Snyder's going to do this thing anyway. Oh yeah, and Justice League 2 was a thing, but now but he still wants to direct it. It's all weird. I mean, I think it does kind of give WB a chance to get Snyder back on. It's definitely hedging their bets. If Snyder's doing this Last Photograph and then Justice League comes out and it does lukewarm or has the same kind of critical response and all that kind of stuff as BVS, and then maybe it's easy. It'll be easier, so there's not a Justice League situation after BVS where they have something else lined up that they have to start shooting immediately or something. Or if Justice League does great and the thing, and I think we've talked about this before. If Justice League does great, who's the person that's going to get the praise for it? If those things that it gets praised for can people attribute to Zack Snyder, and then it also gives Warner Brothers an opening to say, okay, we can let him do another movie if he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely. It just seemed like it was like the way the story was written. It was framed around his next project to kind of not say, okay, we're kind of letting go of Zack Snyder but he's going to be doing this, and there's always Justice League 2 that may happen. But all right, let's finish up this conversation real quick with this. So if it's taking the place, which I don't know if that's really the case. I think that's
I thought that was kind of yes.
I don't
like.
It's more of
most
that.
smoke and mirror.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like a shell game to, again, to make everything seem to be okay. If Ben Affleck is about to go in front of the camera on his Batman film, which it seems to be the case, here this spring, then why would that film be a 2019 release? Because it would be done by, he would say he starts in April. He would be, even if it's a 6-month shoot, it's going to finish in the fall, and then he'll have to make a July release. He'll have 8-9 months for post-production.
Yeah.
Why sit on it for a year and a half? So,
the thing that is, when Aquaman is scheduled to come out, the other film that was supposed to come out that year was The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's kind of postponed a little bit right now because of their director leaving, what other film is going to release that year?
Yeah.
If it's not the Batman.
Yeah.
That's the Batman, the rumored Batman movie is the only thing we've heard of that's likely to start production.
Yeah.
Unless we hear something else, then it has to be that.
I would say if he starts filming the Batman here pretty soon, let's say early 2017, and then it's going to be a July 2018 release. If for some out of the blue, all of a sudden he's doing what's the Witness for the Prosecution? If all of a sudden he's doing that in 2017 before he does the Batman, then it's clearly going to be that June 2019 release. But we haven't heard anything about Witness for the Prosecution in a while, other than they just announced that was going to be something he was going to direct. So, we'll see. Any thoughts on the release date, Rick?
No, I think everything that you stated is exactly where my head's at. It's a little bit of a confusing mixed message. I don't know if they really know what the hell they're going to do right now. That's what I kind of feel like, that there's these sort of random arbitrary dates that are being tossed around.
Well, I think they know they're going to do the Batman. I think that's
yes with that. Yeah, absolutely. With everything else,
yes. Yeah.
I think it's all contingent on kind of how these next couple of films unfold. And really, until those films unfold, or until they say definitively that X, Y, and Z comes out on this date and they are in pre-production, I am just going to assume that the only thing that they're focused on right now is their fingers crossed that Wonder Woman works, Justice League works, but that everything outside of that is just the Batman. And if those films work and they take off, and audiences are excited about Aquaman, perhaps even The Flash, Cyborg maybe, then obviously they can start plugging those in. But I think right now they're stepping back and playing it safe, and their little quasi ambiguity is very telling to me.
All right, so let's one more thing. When I posted the article I wrote on it on the Facebook Batman on Film Facebook fan page, most people were kind of in agreement with what we're talking about, I guess. But there was one comment about another bashing of Snyder podcast, snore, and I'm like, This is news, dude. You've got, this is something we have to talk about. This is not something we should sweep underneath the rug. And it's the reality of what's happening. There's no, it's news. Are we, I know it could be coming off as beating a dead horse, but this broke in a trade, and it's something that we got to talk about.
Well, let's put it like this.
It's not like we're sitting here like berating the guy.
It's like don't blame us when these things happen, and we're trying to just kind of talk our way through it,
Well, and Justin's already said he hopes he comes back. I don't, but Justin has said that. So that's one part of this. That's 1/4 of this panel that even wants him to return. Here's what I would say too, to everybody listening that might have that attitude. That's annoyed with us. That's, if you are listening. Hi, if you are, and thank you. meaning, are you the person that's annoyed with us, but you're still listening, kind of thing. But this podcast was supposed to just be, hey, let's talk about a recap of 2016. We weren't going to talk about. Obviously BBS would have come up, but we weren't going to talk about anything in terms of future plans for DCU. This was going to be like a retrospective episode. This news broke.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about Armie Hammer and Joe Manganiello.
Yeah. Something in that kitchen.
That is like one of the most classic trolls of all trolling deals of all time. Who knows what's going on with that? But anyway, yeah, go ahead, Rick.
No, that's all I was saying, is that we just, we report, you decide.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, look, at least we're stirring up some sort of emotion, and even if it's anger. I mean, if we can sit here and go, well, yeah, Zack Snyder is awesome, right, Justin? What do you think, Justin? What do you think, Rick? Is he awesome or not? I say he's not awesome. Okay, that's cool. What do you think, Ryan? I mean, whatever. So,
everything is awesome.
Yes. Anyway, so
and by the way, when did loving these characters in this universe, when did Snyder own that? When did it become, if you don't like Zack Snyder's films, you're somehow not a fan of Batman? When did that happen? I don't understand.
Batman v Superman. That's what.
Well, this whole thing with these Zack Snyder loyalists, and bless you, I'm glad. I love that you.
Who, by the way, probably were bashed him for other stuff because he was not. He was very. A hot topic type of director anyway.
God, this has become like politics, man. It's weird. Yeah. It's so weird to me. It's so visceral.
It's the same thing as those listeners who say we should just be up here doing everything is awesome, just like Ryan was singing, and then actually used that in the podcast before. But
I honestly think this comes to this, and I'm going to actually give these people credit. I think their passion for DC is so deep, and they're so committed to it that right now they're just standing by the current films because it's in opposition to the Marvel films, and that's great. But come on, we can do better than this. We can do better than this from a dialogue perspective, and the studio can certainly put out better films. You love these characters, so do we. Yes. We're demanding that the movies are better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. I want the movies to be good. I'm not going to sit around and let's pretend like this podcast is 1995. I would be up in arms about or 1992. Mm-hmm. I haven't liked a Batman film other than the Nolan trilogy, other than Tim Burton's classic original. So it's not like it's just this is just a Zack Snyder bashing thing, man. We have 4 great Batman films: Tim Burton and the original Tim Burton, 3 Nolan films. We can have a dozen more, and I want them.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think it's a Snyder thing per se. I really feel like it's just an extension of, we have BVS and this is all we have, and we need to kind of defend it at all costs to make sure that people don't.
It's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So, we're on the same page. Look, I'm gonna end this real quick, and we have to talk about this. If we don't talk about it, then we're not stirring up any sort of debate or emotion where people are being vocal about this and maybe taking the discussion somewhere else, because, I mean, we want better films for these characters, especially for Batman, because we love the character. So that's the root of our discussion. If everything was awesome, we'd be saying everything was awesome. So, but I'm sorry, it's not. Justin, real quick, since you brought it up, you think there's anything into the Armie Hammer and Joe Manganiello deal, or is that just are they having a goof on everybody?
Yeah. I mean, looking at all of it, he may have something to do with DCEU, but right now, with people reading everything into every little tweet and who's following who, which is really funny. I think they're having fun with it.
Yeah.
But there could be potentially something going on. I wouldn't be complaining if he was a part of the DCEU.
I will say this,
forward.
Right now, Armie Hammer at early 30s would be a great in the prime Batman. And I can see.
I thought of that too. I was like, what if it was flashback Batman?
But someone brought that up. But if you want to do Affleck is in good enough shape, and he could do Batman younger than his age as well. He could do a 30s Batman. He could do a 50s Batman. You know, so I don't think that's the case, but I can see why he was cast as Batman for that Justice League Mortal film, but he was just he was like 20 years old then, 21. He was way too young for that. But let's say that he's in a DCEU film, and let's say he's in the Batman. Any ideas what character he could play?
Oh man, yeah. I was thinking if he could possibly be someone like Dick Grayson. Like, I mean, if Batman's like, you know, in his like 45, that means Dick Grayson could be 30. You know, but
yeah,
he's probably not.
He probably would be. I mean, who knows? Any ideas? Any thoughts, Ryan?
I hate to speculate about this stuff because it's so early.
I know. That's funny. You want to just end it there? I mean,
well, no. I mean,
it's fun to speculate.
Yeah,
it is fun though. But it's fun. I mean, if he's with Manganiello for all these things, it makes me wonder if his role if he had a role, if it was related to Deathstroke in some way, like he's a villain or a villain at some point. You know, we've heard all these Red Hood rumors. I'm like, well, could he be Jason Todd or something? I hope not, because I really hope that they don't. I don't like Jason. I don't like Red Hood and all that, but maybe he could be a villain. Ooh, my dog in the background.
Well, yes, we know.
Squeaking. Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right, let's move on from that. We'll see. We'll find out eventually what the deal is with that. So, let's move on to our list of get to our Batman in 2016 talk and our list of top Batman moments, and we could be some negative stuff here too. So these are in no particular order. We kind of came up with made a group decision, and these what we talk about, and we'll get into more specifics on each one. So number one, and again, no particular order. We saw the end of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's run on Batman come to an end again in this past year. So I was kind of sad because that was like one of the best runs on Batman that I've ever read. I'm glad Snyder is still doing All-Star Batman, but I miss Greg Capullo's artwork. So, Ryan, any thoughts on the end of Batman with Snyder and Capullo?
Yeah, and when you step back and look at their run as a whole, you really got to give them props for how much they kept what good comic books are, alive through that entire run. I have been critical of some of the arcs, though. I mean, because I felt like some of them would always build to some kind of crescendo and then kind of not really have the payoff. But overall, I think they did a great job. And yeah, I just really love Greg Capullo's art, and I've been reading that Reborn comic that Capullo's been doing art on now is really good too. And it is kind of sad that I feel like their run on Batman ended with probably the worst arc with Jim Gordon being Batman in the robot suit. Yeah. But they were able to bunny suit.
I said a bunny suit.
Yeah, the robot bunny suit. But I think the last couple issues did kind of have a nice reflection on the whole series, and I'm kind of eager to kind of go back and kind of reread it, because now it is kind of a nice, more or less 52-ish issue arc of a nice solid team. So yeah, they did a great job.
Justin, what's your favorite story arc from that team?
Oh man, I love the Court of Owls stuff. I just feel like that's one thing that that's part of the Batman, vernacular now. Like you're going to,
it's on TV, it's on animated films, like that thing. Court of Owls is everywhere.
Yeah, so they really added something that's going to be long lasting. Now I just don't want people touching on Court of Owls a lot. Like I want it to kind of sit for a little bit until somebody does something great. It was kind of, I just don't want everyone to put their own spin on it so much right now. But yeah, I agree with Ryan. Overall, great run. For me, I wasn't a huge fan of Zero Year, and super heavy, but it was a good run. I mean, visually great, and
how long was their run again?
Oh man, like almost 5 years.
The whole New 52, basically.
52, yeah.
2011 to 2016. 2011. Yeah. So Good stuff, man. I don't know when we're gonna have another run that's so celebrated. If King stays with it, he could give him a run for the money. I like what King's doing, but we'll talk about that.
But he won't have the same this exact same team for that long. Yeah. Is the deal with that? Yeah.
True.
And just think about, and even if I was critical of some of the runs, look at how Snyder and Capullo's run affected the entire DC universe. I mean, I definitely think that it was probably the brightest spot in the New 52, and I think it did kind of improve a lot of the other books too. When some of their ideas kind of trickled over into two other books.
What's a couple of things that you guys can think of that came out of that run that you would love to see incorporated in cinema?
Court of Owls.
Yeah, Court of Owls. That would be good.
Yes, that's at the top. That would work. It would be a great. It could really work in film, I believe, Rick. Very much. Some of the other stuff, I don't know. I think even though Super Heavy kind of sucked in a way, it still was. I mean, it was. Its suckiness was relative to how great everything else was. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. The concept was what was whatever, but it executed it well. It's just not what we. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Let's go to number 2, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Rick, I'm gonna open up with you. We've talked this to death, but let
me just focus on the positives.
Okay.
If you don't mind, just from my take.
Yes. Because everything is awesome.
Because there were a lot of them. I love Alfred. I love Bruce. I don't love Bruce. I think he's kind of a prick. But I love Ben Affleck. I love Ben Affleck in the role. I still really like Henry Cavill in the role of Superman. I want better things for these characters, but at least, the cast is so great, man. It's so great that I'm looking forward to seeing these characters, hopefully, knock on wood, have better days in terms of their platform. But there was, I've watched BVS now probably 10 times, and again, I'm focusing here as I'm trying to say just 100% positive, because every time I start to say something, like the bubble comes out of my mouth and the words are typing and it's negative, I'm just keep popping that bubble. Because there are great things that it's just hard to not counter it. But the cast is great. And there's some really great moments in that film that, I enjoyed seeing. I love the car, for instance. I love the hybrid of sort of the classic Batmobile with Chris Nolan's Tumbler. I think it's a great car. Really, truthfully, it's my favorite Batmobile on film. It really is, because I love the Tumbler, but that was so in context. Right? That you see just a still. Like, I remember when the first time I saw the Tumbler in a picture, I was like, "That's the Batmobile." Well, it looks like shit. But then you see you see Batman Begins, you're like, "Oh, I get it. How cool is this?" Mm-hmm. Whereas with BVS, that car is established, obviously already, the Tumbler, but this was very. Zack Snyder was on, I think, Conan O'Brien, and he was right before this film came out, and he was describing the car, and he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of like the Nolan films. It's battier." And I remember thinking, that's cool. That's a cool way to put it. It's a battier Chris Nolan.
From seeing it in person, it surprised me. It's bigger than the Tumbler.
Oh yeah, because you've seen both in person.
Yeah, and I didn't think it would
longer, be right.
It's long. It's bigger. Overall, it's height. It's higher. It sits higher than the Tumbler did. It's longer. Yes, it's a bigger, much bigger vehicle. The Tumbler is surprisingly small when you see it in person. So, okay, let's just.
So the car, and look, Affleck looks like he just walked off the page, man, of a comic book. He looks fantastic in the part. He's like born to play it. 6'4", 230 muscle, good looking dude.
Yeah.
He's solid, man. So there's a lot of potential to do great things with many things that were in this film.
All right, real quick. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I can't not say something about Gal, right?
No, this is Batman. So no, we're not talking about Gal Gadot. I know you have a crush.
Oh, I know, but we're talking about the film Batman v Superman.
Well, the Batman part of it. Okay, so yes, I'm cutting you off, Rick. what's the best Batman moment in the film? And then we'll move on. To me, it would be when he saved those girls basically they were sex slaves.
Yeah, it looked like they were being trafficked.
Yeah, sex trafficking. Yeah, and that him in the corner up on the that whole thing was pretty badass to me. So
pretty badass, right?
Yeah,
and when he just takes off like a bat.
Yeah.
I want to steal Justin's answer and say it's the Bruce Wayne stuff at the beginning where he runs into the Metropolis destruction, saves people.
Oh, that's cool.
That was one of the most poignant moments in all the trailers too.
Yeah.
Like, wow, look at that was the best thing they could have shown us to show us here's this new Bruce Wayne and here's what this guy's about.
That's one of the best. I think
when everybody was running away,
he
ran into.
Yeah,
it's one of the best Batman moments on film to me.
Yeah,
and he's not even he's not even in costume. Justin, any final thought on BVS in terms of a good Batman moment in the film?
Yeah, I feel like we said our piece on BVS.
Yeah.
I actually watched it 2 days ago with the edited version I have.
Mm-hmm.
I hung 3 Batman Dawn of Justice ornaments on my Christmas tree. Okay. So, in the end, it's made its mark on everyone. And
they have a Batman one, Dawn of Justice.
Oh, dude, they have the Trinity and the Batmobile.
Yeah, and the Trinity has little bases and they interlock together to make a display.
Connect together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got several Batman ornaments. I'll have to. Here's
you got to go to Hallmark. They have them there.
Okay. Let's do this. Post pictures on Twitter of your Batman ornaments that's on your Christmas tree. So.
Oh my gosh, man.
Well, if you can.
So many.
If you have that many, well, some cool ones. Yeah, I gotta
I'll try to. Most of them are all clustered together, so I'll try to.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all ready to move on to number 3?
Yeah, I was gonna say best moment. Everyone already knows. But I really like the Batman voice. That was one thing. Running it, I like how it sounds. So
yeah,
there's some good stuff.
Even though I kind of
I love when Alfred's testing the mic. It's like 1, 2, 3, right. That's cool.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad they finally modulated Batman's voice and then actually explained it. Explained why it's like that with Alfred. That was cool. All right, let's go to number 3, which would be Suicide Squad, which to me is certainly, I know it's a DCEU film, but it's definitely in the Batman sector of that universe. Yeah. And with the Joker, Harley, Killer Croc, Deadshot, and Batman. So that's just fun.
Coolest scene in the film, man.
Yes.
Is when he is when he confronts Will Smith.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's visually gorgeous, and it's just real. In fact, in some ways, it's almost more Batman than anything we even saw in BVS.
You like that better than when he chases Harley and the Joker and saves Harley? And I know you have that bizarre hypothesis that molesting her, which is
to be honest with you, that scene kind of annoys me.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, and I tell you why it does. It's like the only scene. It's a cool scene in a lot of ways, but it's like one of the few moments, or maybe the only moment, where I don't like Harley Quinn. Batty, and it's just a little too over the top.
But right? That's what she does.
I understand. Doesn't mean that it's just that one moment. The rest of the film, she's great. It didn't feel real to me.
All right.
I go with that.
Fair enough.
Or, you know what I'm saying?
Justin, you like that scene?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. Me and Justin like it, so.
I like
when Batman makes out with.
It's just not nearly as cool as the scene where he catches Deadshot, though.
And also, would be part of Batman. I'm sorry. I liked Jared Leto's Joker, and I hope to see more of him. And I liked him in the film.
Can I say this real quick?
No,
because I was about to say this thinking Suicide Squad. I think my favorite scene actually in BVS is when Batman confronts Luthor in jail.
Which version?
On BVS.
The Ultimate Cut version.
Is that scene that different in the Ultimate Cut?
Yeah, he tells Luthor he's going to send him to Arkham.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. He does, doesn't he? That's just longer. In that version. Yeah, sure. I'll take that. I'll take that extended version of it. I love a good Arkham reference. But I mean, it's a great scene. Love that scene. So I just want to throw that.
All right, y'all ready to move on to number 4? Or anything else about Batman?
I was going to say Suicide Squad. Yeah, it was a surprise. Who would have thought we would have got a movie? The third one out the gate would be such a random selection of characters. That's not what I would have put down on paper. So I'm glad it did well. I hope the next installment is better. Obviously critically and stuff. It has me excited for what comes next, more so for the concept of the Suicide Squad in the DCEU, and it opens the door for some new characters too. Some you can put a whole bunch of different you can put Poison Ivy, Clayface, whoever into that setup, and it could be some really fun stuff if they write better stories and frame it better. I like the idea.
And I've said it before, and then we'll move on. I think that if they just had a better final act and a better villain, it would have been a better film overall. And we've talked about, why couldn't they have been looking for one of those mother boxes or something tied into what's going on with the other stuff? But whatever, is what it is. It did well, so that's good. It's good. It did really well. It exceeded expectations. All right, number 4 on our list is Batman: Return of the Caped Crusaders animated film, which I liked, and Rick did not. Right, Rick? Well, you liked it. I'm kidding. You thought you got a little bored with it at the end. That was your take, but
yeah, I did. It was delightful for 30, 45 minutes, man. And then I got a little bored with it, and I didn't really like the negative Dark Knight Rises thing. That was weird. But other than that, man, loved it. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, we'll be quick. We did a whole podcast on it. So what was Ryan? What was your favorite Batman? You have one favorite Batman moment from?
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, it was when they're in the space station and Adam West Batman says, "You want to get nuts?" and he starts saying the quotes from the other films, and I thought that was the whole film amazing. Built to that crescendo, and it just absolutely ran with it, and I thought it was absolutely wonderful. So good.
Justin?
Yep.
Yeah, that was fun. I think I'm more with Rick on this. There's a few parts where I was just checking out.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the end. I love the end credits with them dancing. That made me laugh.
Yeah, that was
the entire time.
I agree. That was my favorite part. That, and because that's it's preposterous to see Batman doing that, and that's what probably makes it so great.
Yeah, that's what Batman 66 is all about.
Yeah.
And just think about it. What kind of world do we live in where we finally get a movie like this? Yeah. Just think about that for a second. Did you ever think we would get an animated movie that takes us back to the 60s Batman with the original voices? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't discount how awesome that really is.
Yeah. And I for one, and I'm going to bring this up, Ryan, if you don't mind, because I think Bill had a little bit different opinion on this. I love that we hear their voices as they are. I'm glad they weren't tweaked. There's something that was endearing about it, and it just made it that much more charming.
No, I'll tell you this. And I said it when we did our podcast. It sounded in the trailer, I thought it could be an issue, but in the movie, it wasn't.
You should go with it.
Yeah, I mean and Burt Ward sounds the same.
Yeah,
he sounds the same to me. So I liked the dancing Batman and Catwoman shaking her rear and them dancing and all. That was great. And I like the part when they get in the rocket and Batman says, intergalactic spaceship is just another tool in a crime fighter's tool bag.
Functional. Fantastic.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, yeah. Overall,
by the way, have you ever seen Burt Ward and Jerry Mathers in the same room together?
You've used that joke before. No, we have not.
Have I? Yes. Every time I start to think of him,
yes.
And for some reason my head goes to Jerry Mathers. Like, God, those guys are like
the
twins.
The older version of those two gentlemen, they do look a lot alike. I will say that. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Or have you ever seen Diane Keaton and Diane Lane in the same room?
I haven't either.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Lyons.
Jeffrey Lyons and Jeremy Irons.
I haven't.
So good.
Jeffrey Lyons. He's a great actor.
Oh. Barney Rubble.
He was really good as Oswald Cobblepot.
Oh, man.
Everybody missed my night shift quote in there. Anyway, move on.
Hey, by the way, did you guys see Zacky's tweet that I texted you guys? Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, I've seen that. And I've seen some of them too, where they have the And then what we're talking about is you tell it, Rick. It's good.
Was Zachy? He had a picture of a still from Michael Keaton in the new Spider-Man trailer, and then he had one from Batman.
Oh, yeah,
and it just said, going from Batman to Spider-Man Batty, because if you either live long enough, you either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah,
it was just. I mean, I was like, whoa, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
And someone lined up the shots of Keaton's Batman and Batman 89 jumping down with the shot of the Vulture, swooping down, and it's eerily similar.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Please send that to me. I got to find that. That's killer.
That will be that trailer looks pretty cool. I'm kind of excited for that film.
Yeah,
Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel character. So
me too. And you know what? I haven't liked a Spider-Man film. I never saw the Amazing Spider-Man sequel. I finally got around to seeing the first Andrew Garfield. I just didn't like it. And I thought the original one was overrated, and I thought Spider-Man 3 was atrocious. Spider-Man 2, top 5, maybe top 10 best comic book film ever. And I think it's fantastic.
I think it's in top 5, yeah.
But yeah, it's a marvelous film. Weird that it's in there with like these other films I just don't like, but this looks like they got it right. There's a lot of Marvel fans that are a little they're getting tired of this Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man thing, and they say, all this is just a prop up for Avengers. I'm like, okay, is that a bad thing? Robert Downey Jr. I gotta watch that guy play Iron Man the rest of my life. Just
yeah. Well, I think they need to put out there that this is connected. There's been 5 Spider-Mans in the last like 12 years, and they really need to push to the general audience. He's a part of the Marvel universe. I think that's what it is.
I know Tom Holland is in his early 20s, but he looks like a kid. He looks like a kid, like Peter Parker should be. So
he does, and this just feels like Spider-Man. Yeah. It just really does. Everything about it. I thought it looked great. I love when Robert Downey Jr. is, he's like, no, I'm not hugging you. I'm just opening the door for you.
that part's great.
All right.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
But it is cool. But it is cool to see Michael Keaton in a new comic book film.
Yeah.
It's neat. It's neat. It really is neat.
All right. Number 5. Justin, I don't know if you've partaked in this yet, and I know the answer for Rick. That would be Telltale Batman. I know me and Ryan have both played it and both love it. So, Ryan, just your thoughts on Telltale Batman, and what's its did it make a mark what's its mark in Batman history, or did it you think it made one? Is it significant enough to say it made a mark?
I would say that it did. I would say that it has made a mark as equal as something like a Batman Earth 1, where it's taken the characters and kind of done a new spin on it, just to kind of get you thinking about where these characters could go or how you can interpret them. And just and as far as video games go, it's the first time this kind of interactive story has been done for the character in the video game medium. And I just think it's terrific. The final episode 5, it comes out this coming week on Tuesday, and I'm really excited to see how it wraps up. I've got 2 save files where I've done the opposite choices for each save file, so I'm through twice. But yeah, I think, just the way that it portrays Batman, not only Batman, but characters like, the Joker or Two-Face or Harvey Dent, Penguin even. I mean, especially Penguin. It's probably
Wayne.
one of the.
How about Thomas Wayne?
Oh, especially Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I don't know if I'm okay with that, with what they have done. I'm still waiting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that. I'm okay with it, but the way that they've done it in this interpretation, I can still kind of respect it and know they're doing what they're doing for a reason.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can kind of navigate your way through the story as the Batman you want to be, I think is just huge.
Are they planning the sequel?
What they normally do is, take a step back and look at how the sales do and the reception is and everything, and they can do another season, like a season 2 or something like that.
All right.
They just have to fit it into their, production pipeline. But I hope they do another one because it's been really good.
All right, number 6 on our list. This is all for Ryan again. It would be Batman Arkham VR. So why is this an important part of Batman 2016, Ryan?
Well, when I said that Telltale Batman was unique in terms of it's never been done before in that medium, I mean, that's times 1,000 for Batman Arkham VR. I mean, it is I played through it a few times, and it is. I'm telling you, it's something that every Batman fan absolutely must experience. It is, out of everything this year, it's Batman I've experienced. It's definitely the most unique thing that you can experience with the character. I mean, you feel like Batman. The story, it's like a really good dark graphic novel that you kind of interact with, and the way the VR medium works, it's just for PlayStation VR. It's just there's something about. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's just something about being Bruce Wayne and being in Wayne Manor and actually like really looking around in the environments and lowering down into the Batcave. That's just like it's just a huge moment if you're a huge Batman fan, just to kind of experience that and feel like you're Batman, and then go down in the Batcave and look at a mystery, and you get to see the vehicles and go to Gotham City and be a detective, and it's definitely, I mean, there's no combat or anything, but which is what the main Arkham games do a great job at, but this game is very detective focused, and it really makes you feel like it. So I can't recommend it highly enough. I know it's kind of a out there thing, and it's a little expensive to get if you don't have a PlayStation 4 or a PSVR and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, it is absolutely, it's worth doing if you're a Batman fan.
All right. We'll move on to number 7. This is kind of a case of sometimes you get what you ask for, and that would be the Killing Joke animated film. It didn't go over that well, folks, did it?
Nope.
Well, it made the money.
It made a splash when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know me, I love that comic book. It's one of my favorites, and Tim Burton and I both are in agreement on that. And I love Mark Hamill. I mean, I was so excited. I was more excited for this than I have been anything for a long time in terms of Batman related on film, and it's an utter disappointment. And quite frankly, I think it's garbage. I think the animation sucks. I think that the actors are not. It's not even in sync. The performances aren't even in sync with the animation. It has some bizarre twists that were not necessary to even do, and I don't know. I think it's a really weird misfire.
Yeah,
and I don't understand. I just don't get it. How did they misfire that? Like, I don't mean to simplify this.
Is it just the add-on story at the beginning? Because once you get past that, it's
yeah. I mean, but Rick doesn't like the second part.
It's the add-on story at the beginning, but it's a kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
and it sort of sets the tone also for it. Just bothered me. And again, it's just one of those. I don't understand. I'm all for adaptations, man. Like when you take something from a comic or a book into a film. I've never been one of those people that I was a big Anne Rice fan. In fact, I still am. And I will never forget when Tom Cruise was cast as Lestat. And I was like, or am I pronouncing that right? Is it Lestat? Anyway, I've read it more than I've watched it. So, anyway, and I didn't care. To me, it wasn't one of those things where it's like, I just remember that being kind of the first big uproar in my life in terms of like transference. I've always had a good open mind about stuff like that. Let's wait to see what the directors can do, the producers can do. Let's give it its day in court. And so I'm cool with changes, but why, but what I don't like is why change something it has to have a point, right?
Well, the point was to make it long enough for a animated film. That's why that was added on. That's the only reason.
Well, yeah, but that's not a point. You could have done
the point that Brian Azzarello said was the original book was already controversial, so we thought we'd make it more controversial just for the heck of it.
Right.
Which is weird.
That's like a weird MO, I think, for like 2016 Batman. Let's just do random shit to do it. Let's kill Jimmy Olsen because it'd be fun.
Yeah. Is that going to? I mean, is that going to? Is the Killing Jokes animated film? Is its legacy to where they'll maybe just stop with the straight up adaptations and go with more inspired by stuff, or no?
I highly doubt it. Just because it made so much money and people came out to see it, and we've already heard rumors of them doing other storylines. Yeah. These films are going to keep doing this alternate. I'm sure they're going to keep doing this alternating, like, well, one film's a Batman film, one film's a Justice League film or something with Batman, Justice League Dark, Batman and Justice League Dark,
It's all Batman. And it really is. I mean,
we talked about this last week on the Star Wars podcast, is that, because we got into it with Zachy, so that's why I remember it was on that particular episode. But that we just love how versatile the character of Batman is and how so many things can coexist. You can have Lego Batman, you can have the Adam West animation, you can have Batman v Superman, right?
Yeah.
So you can have these cool animated films as well. Can some of this stuff just be good?
Yeah.
I don't, not too much to ask. Just good.
I would say,
oh my God, this Lego Batman may ultimately be the best Batman thing on film in years.
Yeah.
When it comes out.
I would say a lot of the Batman, the Batman stuff that's coming out is, I think there's way more good than bad. It's just the bad gets all the focus, and the bad is like really bad to where it's, so, whatever. All right. Let's move on to number 8. And that would be, some more Scott Snyder. He has a new comic, and it is All-Star Batman, which I love. Absolutely love. I love this. It's still in its first story arc, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. It's very Scott Snyder, but it's different than what he did in Batman. Would you say, Brian, would you agree?
Yeah, and I think to me that is the most refreshing part about that book. I mean, he feels, to me it reads as if Snyder is kind of on his leash has been cut. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have the restrictions of like, well, I need to make this story to fit into the DC universe so it can, propagate out to all this other stuff, and I have to stick to this super long arc or whatever. He's getting to, spread his wings, do something different. And I think, both him as a writer and us as readers are definitely benefiting from it. And this first arc with Two-Face and the road trip and stuff, it's just wacky. It's out there. It's the craziest thing he's ever done, as every arc that he does is. But it's good. It's good stuff, and I'm enjoying it.
What do you think of the Two-Face animation? What do you think in terms of how he looks?
The way he's
All-Star Batman?
In All-Star Batman?
Yeah.
The way he's drawn? It's kind of a redesign, right? Didn't they kind of redesign the character a little bit when they decided to use him in this book? But I like it. I have no problems with it.
It's very Terminator-esque to me.
Well,
with the one with the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like Two-Face. I don't see a
huge,
he does.
Huge difference. I
think it's just JR style too.
Yeah. I think the bigger thing is how his backstory and all that, about him, being with Bruce Wayne as a kid and having the split personality to the point where, Two-Face knows things that Dent doesn't, and which one is leading them on this road trip, and where's it going to end, and that kind of thing. Some changes Snyder has done to some of the Batman I don't like, but this one is pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Justin, any thoughts on All-Star Batman?
I'm not caught up. I've only read the first 3 issues. Okay. I think we're at 5 now, but it's fun. It just feels like it exists outside of the current stuff going on with Rebirth. I know it's part of Rebirth, but it feels like it's outside of. Was this branded? Is it branded Rebirth? Is Rebirth on the covers? I can't in my head. I don't
know. I don't remember, but it's part of. It's in the DC continuity. It's in the.
I don't know where it fits, But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's fun. It's just weird, man. And I like that. Again, it's just Batman. He's adaptable to different situations, and this is an interesting take, I'm looking forward to the next arc too. Yeah. Just a different artist
and each one he's Batman. I'm speaking about. He's always overcoming some kind of crazy shit. That's all best way I can put it. And he pulls something out of his butt and gets out of it. It's just. Yes, it's over
like a chainsaw.
Yeah, it's over. It's over the top. It's over the top. But even blind Batman still kicks ass, and if you spoiler alert, sorry. Anyway,
it is branded with Rebirth, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's go to number 9. Speaking of DC Rebirth, just DC Comics Rebirth, the whole thing this year. It did include Batman. You had some changes made with Batman and the 2 flagship comics, Batman and Detective. So, Justin, What did you think about? We did a podcast on Rebirth, didn't we? about the whole?
No,
we talked a little bit about it. But,
but
we talked a little bit about it. I got caught up on a little bit. I got caught up on some reading for that podcast, and I think we spent 90% of our time arguing about the suit.
Oh yeah. That suit's grown on me a little bit. It's weird. It depends on what comic you read. Some comics color hit the inside purple, and some it's gray or black. So or blue sometimes. I don't like the purple inside of the cape.
I like it more subtle, not just the loud purple. I'll agree with that. Once, because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was noticing that too.
But the logo and the belt has kind of grown on me a little bit. I
think the logo's killer.
I still like the New 52 suit the best myself. So anyway, going back, we're talking about Rebirth, not New 52. Any thoughts on, I guess, mainly, let's focus on the two Batman comics. Do you think the changes were that significant when it came to Batman and Detective with Rebirth or not, Brian?
I think out the gate. Sorry.
No,
out the gate, I'm really enjoying these books. I know we just said not New 52, but New 52 when it started, Batman was really good. Detective was really weak. And I'm thinking both of these books are just really strong. I jumped off of Detective for a bit, and then I came back, and I reread everything. Hey, I came back, man. I came back.
Yeah, I said
and they're just really strong books, and I feel like with the whole Rebirth thing, DC really, I think they have a better plan here. What it feels like, and they just got top-notch people writing these books, like Tynion and King. They're on it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Both stories are pretty compelling. There was one dip with that Monster Men thing. Whatever. Yeah. Everyone gets a dip,
Mm-hmm.
Just strong.
And that was almost expected too, because it's just kind of a separate arc.
Yeah.
I kind of figured it would do that. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really liking the main Batman title. It's my favorite. I like Tom King, what he's doing.
Yeah, it's good.
Again, I think he can rival what Snyder did. Obviously, it's not going to be the same situation, but like just as a writer, he's got a really great voice, and I think I think he can potentially have like a really strong run, and I hope he stays on for a while. I look forward to this book every 2 weeks, and I'm glad it's coming out by week. Like usually I'd be like, oh man, 2 books a month, but I've dropped a lot of stuff I was purchasing anyways, just because primarily I'm a Batman guy and I want to read Batman comics, and it's you're not reading it, really check it out. And I think the trade is coming out next month, or maybe it's coming at the end of the month of the first arc. Check it out. It's good. The art's good. I like oh man, the guy's name who's doing the book, he did the first arc. I feel like his art's got stronger since he came over to DC right before.
Finch.
Yeah, David Finch. He came over right before New 52, and they gave him his own. Remember, they gave him Batman Dark Knight. That book it was called.
Yeah, and he was writing it too, and that kind of suffered.
He's not a strong writer, but man, I just like when he's able to just illustrate. And this was a really good fit for him in that first arc, and then the guy who's drawing it right now, the guy who was doing Nightwing and Justice League Dark. I can't think of his name. I didn't come prepared for that, but he's fantastic as well. The art's been strong, the story's been strong, and looking forward to what's coming next. And in Detective, I'll let Ryan wax poetic on that one. But
I like Batman.
It's a good, both good.
I agree with you on Batman. I stopped reading Detective. It kind of lost me, but that's just, and I'm reading All Star. So Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, to me that is kind of the good Batman pillar of books there. All Star, Batman, and Detective, and all three I feel hit different parts of what you might want to read in a Batman comic each month. And like Justin was saying, one of my biggest concerns about Rebirth going in was, can they keep up doing 2 books a month for some of these titles, and then the quality be there? And so far it absolutely has for me. I mean. Tom King's Batman, I've enjoyed. It's, for the most part, I did pick at it here and there, but it's fun. It's good writing and good character stuff with Batman, and I can't complain about that really. And Detective, to me, really hits what I want to read in a Batman family kind of book in terms of world building. Tynion has really done some great stuff with not just Batman, but all these other ancillary characters that don't usually get their own books or need a spotlight. I mean, to me, this is a book that's got Spoiler and, Cassandra Cain and Clayface and Azrael. I love Azrael.
I would agree. If you like the Batman family, then Detective is a comic you're really going to like.
Yeah, and Batwoman.
If you prefer solo Batman, probably Batman and All-Star Batman or more.
Yeah, I like it. I like it as a pillar. Yeah. As a pillar, it's something that I can definitely sink my teeth into and read it as a Batman family thing. And I'm a huge Tim Drake fan, and Tim Drake is no longer with us, mostly at the moment in DC Comics. But what they did with him is really creative, compared to what happens to characters when they die in comic books. Because I know at some point that Tim's going to come back, and he's going to be a pretty important character, I'd say. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to all of these books continuing and seeing where they go next year. And I'm, as far as King's Run, he's going to do a Bane arc really soon, and he's already done some cool Bane stuff in the current arc he's doing. But I think the next one focuses on him a little bit more. So I'm really excited to see what he does with that character, because
I'm looking forward to Bane buying some pants.
Yeah, he does need that. He does need that.
All right. And number 10, we're talking about, it kind of goes together, the 30th anniversary of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, and the second sequel, Dark Knight 3, came out this year. Rick, what when you think about The Dark Knight Returns, what comes to your mind?
Right now, Batman v Superman does, oddly enough. A lot of great, beautiful imagery and that film that they lifted from that. I also go back to,
when did you first read it? What do you remember clearly when you first read Dark Knight Returns?
What year did it come out? Was it 86?
86.
86?
Yes.
So I was and Batman came out in 89. I read that probably in 87, 88. And the reason I'll remember reading it, because the primary reason I went to pick it up is because Tim Burton was talking about how there was a lot of inspiration he took from that for his upcoming film. I read it in some magazine. I was like, oh man, I need to read this. I've been meaning to anyway.
And that's when I read it. Starlog or Comic Scene.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think Starlog was it. Yeah. Man, I really literally think that was it. And so it was leading up to Batman 89, so maybe even 88, but obviously before 89. And when I think back on that, I think of just how interesting it was to me that there's this older Bruce Wayne that we're seeing that is certainly has some issues beyond his normal issues, right? The imagery of the female Robin, all that stuff, it just really resonated with me. It was just a very unique story, and and seeing. There's been history already, obviously, of Batman and Superman having conflict and other storylines, but this one in particular had some pretty gruesome fight scene images that I think they did capture well, by the way, in BVS, and I know that was part of their inspiration. And The Dark Knight Returns, I don't like it as much as some people do, but I do love it. And it's funny because I like the Killing Joke so much, and then as you say, Bill, that's one of those things where you're like, it's okay, it's overrated.
I'm not a big fan of the Killing Joke.
I've always kind of thought the Dark Knight Returns might be a little overrated, but not for fault of its own. Sometimes these things kind of take on a life of their own, whether it's a film, a comic book, whatever it may be, and people love it so much, and just by virtue of the hype, you're going, man, I don't understand it, but it's not the fault of the work itself. The work itself is still very good. I revisited it, I guess about a year ago, sat down and read it, and it was actually leading up to BVS, oddly enough. So leading up to Batman 89 and BVS, and I still enjoy it. It was definitely ahead of its time, and it really changed things in terms of where Batman could go, particularly on film. And I think that's to me, that's sort of the legacy of that, is that it led to things really in cinema that we would not have had.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, it changed the way people, the mainstream, I'll say it that way, thought about comic books and comic books,
thought about Batman specifically.
Yeah. And it's still, I remember I read it standing, I've told this story before, I read it, I was like not buying comics because it wasn't cool. So I would go to the mall, my local mall, Central Mall in Port Arthur, Texas, and I would go to Walden Books where they sold comics and they had them on racks and they had graphic novels. And I read each issue of The Dark Knight Returns just standing in the mall in the bookstore reading it. I didn't even buy it. I don't even have the original issues because I didn't buy it. So I do have the original when they released it as a graphic novel. But yeah, it's one of my favorite stories, and I think the animated film it's one of the best Batman animated films as well. It's really good. Mm-hmm. So, Justin, what's your, when you look back at Dark Knight Returns, what does it stand for you as in your Batman, personal Batman world?
Yeah, I love it, but it's not my favorite Frank Miller Batman story. I love Year One over Dark Knight, but I get where it stands in kind of the Batman iconic storytelling and visuals it brings. I read it in 93. I bought back then, my dad would buy comics for me to read all the time. Like, so he got me this slipcase collection of Batman stories, and it came with Dark Knight Returns, Year One. I think it had Arkham Asylum and this Catwoman story, all packaged together.
Her Sister's Keeper, is it that one?
Her Sister's Keeper, that's what it was. It was with Wildcat was training her and stuff. Anyways, it was really hard for me to get through as a 12-year-old kid.
Oh, I imagine.
And I was, man, I was like, because I just heard about it and I was trying to read it and I was like, man, with swastika nipples and everything, it was just so weird to me. I was like, what the heck is going on here?
Oh, there's so much, and there's so much dialogue in it,
Yeah. Oh, it was super wordy, and I did not like the Joker. I was like, I don't like how he looks. He didn't look like the Joker to me. So it seemed very, like, at the time, it felt very highbrow to me as a kid. I did like Batman's look. I liked that, I love the fight with the mutants in the mud. I thought all that was cool. Carrie Kelly was cool. There was a lot of stuff I didn't understand where it fit in the timeline of, comics. But going back to rereading, I ended up getting the Absolute Edition a few years back, and I've read it so many different times. I like it. It's not my favorite Batman story, kind of like where Rick's at. It's not my favorite, but I understand what it brings, and it really changed. It changed comics, is really like that, and Watchmen kind of just changed everything in around '86 in that time frame. So I see its historical significance. Personally, it didn't. I'm not going to get a Dark Knight Returns tattoo or anything, but I do like it. Yeah. So and here's the thing with Dark Knight 3, I'm waiting till it gets collected to read it.
I think even though I'm really enjoying it, we'll just, talk briefly about Dark Knight 3. I think that's going to be the way to read it when it's collected, because I do get the criticisms that it's kind of slow. You're Ryan, you're reading it, right? Individually?
Yeah. I was going to wait, but I broke down, I've been reading it.
Would you agree with the slowness criticism?
I would, but not only because each issue is because it's more issues, overall than The Dark Knight Returns is, but also because it keeps getting delayed. And they keep not only delaying it, but they keep adding issues because it was originally 8 and now it's 9, and who knows when it's actually going to end. So yeah, I would totally agree with that statement. Also, while you're waiting, if you haven't read it, definitely read The Dark Knight Returns: The Last Crusade.
Oh, yes, that's awesome.
Wasn't that thing amazing?
Like I was
good. I was just thinking about that. I was like, oh yeah, that came out this year. That was so good.
Yeah, we got to throw that in there. Justin, have you read that?
And for what?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, you got to read that, man.
So,
it's really good.
So for what it's worth, Justin, this coming Wednesday in your comic book store, that is coming out in a hardcover deluxe edition.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get that.
So just The Last Crusade?
Yeah, The Last Crusade. Yep, just The Last Crusade. And I'm hoping that it matches the same format as the Dark Knight 3 deluxe editions. But yeah, it's a good story. It's self-contained. It tells you what happens to the Jason Todd Robin in that universe. It's really good, really really good. Yeah, and it's honestly almost as good. It is on the level of being probably out of all these Dark Knight stories, it's probably the best companion piece to the Dark Knight Returns. I would say.
I agree with that. All right, guys. Rick, real quick. I What was your favorite Batman moment this year? Your personal favorite Batman moment? Anything?
Every time I went back and watched one of the Nolan films.
Okay. Fair enough. Justin.
And my honest answer is doing this podcast, man. It's been so fun.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's not like a blowing smoke. That's just the honest truth is, every week recording and talking about Batman. It's been really fun. It's been a great way to live out your love of Batman and hang out with you guys and get to know you guys even better. And, it's been fun. It's been a huge highlight. And so that's been one of my favorite things Batman this year is doing.
Hey, you know what, man? I agree. That's mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of just joking with the Nolan thing, but I'm also hungover and didn't have an answer. But that's a great response. And listen, 2017, guys, we got to get together somehow, somewhere in person. I don't know when and where, but I don't know if you guys can make it to Houston for the Lego film, or Bill, maybe we get out to L.A. and Ryan meets us. I don't know, something. We got to figure something out.
We'll figure something out. Yeah, I got to say that once Justin said that, I got to agree. This has been so much fun doing the podcast this year. I look forward to doing the podcast because you guys, I mean, usually by Tuesday or so, I'm emailing you guys saying, okay, what do y'all want to talk about this coming weekend? And it's been, I'm glad that, looking back, I'm glad that, Rick, about this time last year or so, somewhere around here, bringing Rick into the Batman on Film world really is from being just a reader and us, we had hung out a couple times and stuff, but making him part of the website and, Rick's who I reached out to is like, hey, we're going to do, I didn't have an idea what to do with the new version of the podcast, but I brought Rick on, and then, Justin came on and Ryan came on, and it's been great. So I'm glad that cause I was, a year ago I was kind of teetering on, after BVS, I may be done with Batman on Film. So it's been overall it's been a good Batman year for me for that reason. And I think, would you agree that you think about, and it probably sounds weird, but whatever. Don't you think about Batman like every day of your life at some point? At some point during the day, you think about Batman.
Oh yeah, all the damn time.
Yeah.
It's become such a part of it always has been, right? Ever since I was a little boy, but it's such a part of my adult identity. And this site, it's a big reason why. And we went to this Christmas party last night. I mentioned it earlier. You can hear it in my voice. That's the Christmas party. But anyway, we went to.
It makes for good radio voice, though.
I walked in, and the first thing somebody said, they're like, "Batman's in the house." And so it was just cool, And it was just really a neat thing, man. I'm so proud to be. I'm more proud of this, and I certainly have more fun with this than I do my left shoe politics by leaps and bounds. Because there's nothing fun about I'm just a politically sharp guy, and it's just who I am. And so that's more of a torturous thing. I almost wish I wasn't, but I just am. This is pure joy. It just absolutely, and what's funny is that, and I've said this before, the passion that Batman fans have, and I alluded to this earlier with people that are really committed to Zack Snyder films, and they get very annoyed with us. I really believe in my hearts of heart that the majority of those people deep down, they're just really protective of Batman. And right now he's kind of the standard bearer. He's the one carrying the torch for that character on film. And so I give them the benefit of the doubt. I love it. I love their passion. The debates can be as passionate, if not more, than discussing taxation or legalizing marijuana or foreign policy or it is. In fact, some of my most contentious debates have been centered around comic books and films and Batman in particular than anything I've ever done politically, which is a weird thing to think of. But we are part of I almost want to call it a subculture. There are people that love these films and they sit around, and we've talked about this a million times, that's 90% of the people that go see comic book films. But then there's us. There's people like that we live and breathe this stuff. It's like, it's not, Batman's not just he's a cool character. I mean, look at what Justin just did. Look at with that beautiful little angel, and you showed up at the hospital in a Batman costume, and how much joy that brought to those kids.
Yeah.
Right? That's the power of Batman. It's not just a fictional character, man.
Rick,
it is.
Real quick, tell that, because you told it before, and I bust your ball sometimes about repeating jokes or stories, but this is, I think it's very significant. The whole deal where people have told you, when are you going to grow up and stop liking Batman or Star Wars or whatever? So what's your retort to that? Because I think it's awesome.
Well, my kind of standard retort to that is, first of all, never. I'm never, and if I ever do, please take me out back and shoot me. Because if I lose that spirit, if I lose that imagination and that will to believe that there's something more interesting than even the world that we live in and these characters, it's not just that I'm a fan. It's like a way of life. I mean, I never will outgrow it. And in fact, in so many ways, we've grown up with these characters. Bill, I'll reference you more specifically on this because of our age. Mm-hmm. We're older than Ryan and Justin are. And you know, and I'm not saying they didn't have these same experiences. I just mean in terms of what was happening in comics, cartoons, films, etc. Batman grew up with us. Mm-hmm. He matured as we did. By the time Batman 89 came out, I was in high school. Mm-hmm. Well, that was a high school Batman. That Batman would not have been my Batman when I was 8 if it was out, because it would have been too dark and I may not have even been able to go see it in the theater. I don't know. That's the thing I also love about this, is that this character has grown up with us. We just talked about The Dark Knight Returns and how comic books changed drastically as a result of some of these graphic novels and everything. And then now here we are as like bitter, burned out, 40-something men, and we get a 40-something bitter, burned out Batman on film.
Which one happened first?
Yeah. Right. I'm serious. It's literally like, and when Batman Forever came out, I was in college and I was in theater and everything was really bubbly, and I had a cute girlfriend and I was doing plays and I was bartending, and it was just, and that's kind of like the Joel Schumacher Batman. It's just kind of bubbly and alive and optimistic, and the future's bright.
You were Superman, bro.
What's that?
You were Superman too.
I was Superman. I was cast as Batman. I told you guys that, right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. It's a good story.
San Antonio, they're like, no, you're actually good. And but you know what? I got to fly. Although Batman, he what do you call it? Repelled from like a 60-foot catwalk. That was pretty.
That's sweet.
Yeah, but I got to fly, and I didn't have to do a meet and greet with the kids. But that's talk about that story.
You just went and drank at the bar like Superman 3, Superman, and kids going, what? Superman's drinking beer.
Like, watch Superman 3.
I think I scarred that.
Going peanuts.
Serial killer somewhere now, unfortunately. That's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
But that's just it. Yeah. These characters have grown up with us. And whether it's Star Wars or whatever. And so I never, when people just say that to me, I'm like, never.
Star Wars plug.
Never, ever am I going to outgrow this. I'm 40. I'm about to be 42. When am I going to grow out of it? When I'm 65? No.
Dude, I'm 51. I'm wearing Batman house slippers right now while I'm doing this podcast. So
I had a ski cap on the other day.
I saw it on Facebook. All right, yes, I love Batman. I think about Batman every day. I wear Batman, some sort of Batman apparel at least. Oh God, I mean minimum 2 or 3 times a week, t-shirt, hat, whatever it is. So yeah, if you think about me, people who know me, if you think about me, you think Dallas Cowboys, Batman, and I'm a huge Elvis fan. I never told it. I don't know if I've ever said that on the podcast, but yeah, I mean, those 3 things are, things from my childhood that I've held on to, but I mean, Batman, love him. All right. Let's get out of here and plug some stuff. We went this is like an hour and a half podcast. That's all right. That's cool. People, I get emails all the time. People going, can y'all go, longer? And I'm like, oh, dude, okay. You're not editing these things. So, there you go. Justin, go ahead. Plug something. And I'm going to tell her before you do, we're going to, But I'm gonna do a little feature story on that on the whole the thing.
Oh, Dan.
Your deal with Danny and all that, because we need to get that out there. That was just awesome. So go ahead, plug some stuff, dude.
Yeah, again, yes, thanks to anybody who was able to contribute and be a part of the GoFundMe with Danny. We raised a bunch of money and bought a lot of presents for some kids in need, and gave them a good visit with Batman, and cheered them up, and it was good, man. It was a really powerful experience. So to everybody that made that happen, that was awesome.
And
you can check out
you probably felt like Batman though, didn't you?
Oh man, you know what? I almost felt ridiculous, not because I'm as dressed up, but ridiculous, and these kids are just they're like the true heroes, that's what they are. They're so strong, man, and what they're going through, and it gave me just a whole new perspective on what these kids I've known a couple kids, but just seeing all these kids, and then even the younger siblings, they broke my heart, man. They're like, my brother's the strongest, and I'm like, oh, your brother is the strongest. They just the whole family, man. They're all going through. They all go through it, and so it was good to see families rally and just everyone just kind of be together and excited and feel loved on. It turned a stressful day into a great day, and so that was good, man. And everyone helped make that happen. So yeah, if you can check out that GoFundMe.com/Danny's Christmas Drive, you can probably see some photos. Hopefully by the time this podcast goes out, they'll upload more of the photos to give you an idea of, just a little snapshot of what happened, because it was a great thing to be a part of.
Is that going to be an annual thing?
Yeah, we were actually talking about doing this thing annually, maybe changing the name and stuff a little bit. We might call it Danny's Super Drive or something like that, just to he loves superheroes, and he was just so excited. And so yeah, it's probably going to be an annual thing. Just trying to figure out the logistics of it, and I don't know everything about creating nonprofits and things like that, because once you start doing something like that, there becomes legalities and stuff.
Yeah,
so, but yeah, we'll be working on that, and definitely we'll let you guys know how that goes next year.
All right. Anything else you want to plug?
No, that's it. Let's Go podcast is always a thing, and then I think we're waiting till Star Wars comes out to do our next one. So maybe Friday, Saturday we'll have a new episode.
All right, Ryan, shoot.
We did it, guys. We did episode 52. It's 1 year's worth of podcast if you listen to one every week, and it's also a good DC Comics number too. So just the kind of I'm just so thankful for this podcast and Batman on Film. It's talking to you guys every week has just been such a good experience. Just think about how much Batman stuff we got this year, how much we got to talk about, and how much we got to experience. And even if some of it was, we got to talk about the good and the bad and the speculation. But it's all Batman. It's all good. And I, trying to remember that right now. So that's great. And it's great to hear Justin's story. I think that's just incredible. Yeah. Just power of Batman, that symbol, and taking it forward to doing something like that is just, that's amazing. So follow me on Twitter at SMB_Ryan. The other podcast I'm part of, the Robin Everyone Loves a Drake podcast. A brand new episode came out a few days ago where we talk about this 3-issue Robin Huntress miniseries from the 90s. It's pretty cool. And you can find that podcast on Twitter at ELTD Podcast or on the Batman Podcast Network website at batmanpodcastnetwork.com.
Cool. All right, Rick. I know you got something to plug because you get to do something tomorrow that's kind of cool, especially for you.
Well, first of all, let me just plug our show again, because if you guys did not get an opportunity or just kind of bypassed it, the Star Wars podcast that we did 2 weeks ago. Has it been 2 weeks already, guys?
Have people been liking that?
That was popular. I'll tell you that. It was.
It's a good show. My wife listened to it the other day, and she was like, that's good. That was good. She said it was really just, it brought me in, and the conversations were great. If you love Star Wars, check it out. I'm very proud of it, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to do it. We're all going to come back together, same exact guys, including our my friend Brian. He'll join us again on this one, where we're going to talk. We'll talk Rogue One after it. Everyone sees it, In fact, I get to go to a press screening tomorrow to see it, which is thanks to Bill, set that up by Batman on Film. So that's
awesome.
It's amazing that I get to represent our site. And you know what I really wish I had, Bill and Justin and Ryan?
A T-shirt.
I wish I had some swag.
Yeah.
We need some swag,
We talked about that all year. We need to get it done.
I want to show up with a Batman on Film hat and shirt.
Yeah.
Like I'm here to represent. I'm here to represent. But instead, I'm going to wear my Rogue One shirt and a Batman ski cap.
Cool.
It's going to be cold as hell. But anyway, I'll put a spoiler-free review up and on of Rogue One, and then I'll put a comprehensive review up when that embargo lifts. I think on the 14th.
Rick, check. I was talking to. Well, I saw a Jim from IGN, friend of mine. Used to go by Stacks, but he posted on Twitter or Facebook that they allowed them to have non-spoiler reactions on Twitter after they saw the film. So I would check with those folks down there and see if that's the case. And you can even bring up that the main press screening in LA allowed them to do that. So
yeah, and I'm been reading those all morning, and Kevin Smith really seemed to like it a lot. So I'm pretty excited. I love the fact that tomorrow. By 2 p.m. tomorrow, I will have seen Rogue One and have it swirling in my head as I make that atrocious drive back to Dallas. Because it sucks.
Oh, it's not that bad. Come on.
You know why it sucks, Bill? It sucks because it's not that it's that long. Because really, Austin is from down 35 between Dallas and Austin is not much.
That drive on 35 sucks. Because 35 sucks between Dallas and Austin. So anyway,
this is true with the construction,
yes.
right? But in terms of like, there's you pass actual like Starbucks coffees, and you hit Waco. There's like real restaurants.
Yeah.
Between Dallas and Houston, man, there's nothing. It's Texas Burger, Dairy Queen, and gas stations. It's very Texas.
Why are you talking bad about Fairfield and Buffalo and Corsicana and Centerville? And
Corsicana is coming out of Dallas. That doesn't really count. Once you get south of Corsicana,
Madisonville. You can stop at Buc-ee's in Madisonville.
Buc-ee's. I'd almost rather have like myself shot in the head than go to Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's is awesome.
Yeah, if you want to stand in line for 45 minutes for a Coke.
No, it's there.
Sweet.
Guys, y'all don't have no what. There's these.
Hey, you guys everybody just Google Buc-ee's. Yes. And what town is it in? And it's
the one on 45 between Dallas and Houston's in Madisonville.
Madisonville, Texas. Buc-ee's. I'm telling you, it is. There will be 50,000 people there at any given time.
Oh, the Buc-ee's as in BUC-EE?
Yes.
Okay.
Cleanest restrooms in Texas. Food, they have food. If you ever get a chance to go to if you're in Texas and you're driving on, if you're on 290 or 45 or 35, whatever, you see a Buc-ee's, pull in there. It's an experience. It is an Texas experience. All right, Rick, anything else you're going to plug? Hurry.
No, that's it. Follow me on Twitter, Shoe Rick. Announcer Rachel will plug that anyway. That's all I got.
All right.
Love you guys.
What alcohol did you have last night?
Oh, that's the problem, man. We had. First of all, it's a big wine group, so started off wine.
Okay, you had wine.
I'm going to just sip wine. I'm going to sip on wine, and then they busted out we did a shot of something. I was like, all right, cool. Now I'm in my whiskey mode, and they poured me a Woodford Reserve, and then I had a Chimay. I split a Chimay. Justin, it's the blue one. I believe that's the Grand Reserve. Correct? You're a beer guy.
I don't know. I haven't had that.
Oh, see, listen, Chimay beer. It's one of the 7 beers left on the planet that is actually still brewed by the Trappist monks, man. It's insanely good. But there's 3 versions of it. You have the white, the red, and the blue. I get the red and the blue.
Oh man, okay. So I'll have to look that up.
Chimay, and my favorite beer on the planet. Are you ready? And Justin, you may or not have it. If you have it, please try it. Le Fin du Monde. The end of the world. Le Fin du Monde.
I feel like you're fancy beer. You're like fancy.
Whoa.
He's a fancy pants. He's fancy.
But here's the deal with these beers. Let me just say this but let me say like talking about. I'll never forget my mom one day. She said, "Why can't you just like normal beer?" She had, Coors Light or whatever. First of all, that's piss.
Yeah,
I'll drink Miller Lite. Don't get me wrong. Miller Lite I can drink. I like Miller Lite. Good cold Miller Lite. But Coors Light is just water. But I looked at my mom and said, "Mom, that beer has been brewed since like 1967. This beer I've been drinking has been brewed since 1572." So, if you really put it in perspective, I'm drinking normal beer.
You are a alcohol snob, aren't you, sir?
No, man. Don't get me wrong. I can go to a comedy show and I'll get a pitcher of Miller Lite.
All right.
And drink.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like everything.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Rick's going to go find his phone, wherever the hell that is.
Yeah, I just sent a private message on Facebook to the host of the party going, you guys throw one hell of a party, thank you. P.S. Did you guys find a phone by any chance?
I'm sure already Rick's having Facebook and Twitter withdrawal, especially Facebook. He's like...
No, I've got Facebook and Twitter pulled up right now.
Because...
I'm all caught up.
They had the year, if you're on Facebook, you can do your little end of the year video, and I was looking at Rick's. I had like 2,000 things I liked on Facebook this year, and I thought that was...
I get so much shit at a party about this last night.
Rick had like over 20,000 likes.
Almost 21,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yep. My wife's like, Facebook intervention. But our friend Zachy, hey Zachy, what's up? We know you listen, buddy. We appreciate you. He had over 50,000.
Wow.
Well, you
50.
Yeah.
I that took my breath away. Like 50? That's more than
that
double.
Shocked Rick. That's got to be something right there.
What is that? Like a like every 30 seconds? What is that?
Do the math.
Well,
all right.
I don't have Facebook, but I'm actually thinking about going and tallying up how long I've spent doing podcasts this year, and I'm probably going to shock myself.
I was already thinking it. We did 52 episodes and at least an hour each. I mean, that's like we've talked about Batman for 2 days straight, nonstop. Put it that way. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, everybody. Announcer Rachel is going to take us out, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey now! You've been listening to the Batman on Film podcast, a proud member and the sponsor of the Batman Podcast Network, batmanpodcastnetwork.com. You can listen to the BOF podcast on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, TuneIn, and wherever good podcasts like this one can be found. Want to advertise on the BOF podcast? Go to advertisecast.com/the Batman on Film Con podcast. Follow Jett on Twitter at Batman on Film and on BOF's Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Jett.BatmanOnFilm. Email Jett via Jett@batman-on-film.com. Follow Rick on Twitter at ShoeRick and on Facebook at facebook.com/BOF-Shoe. For Jett, Rick, Justin, and Ryan, I'm announcer Rachel. Thanks for listening.